Welcome to the Anime Verse Hubs channel. Today we're diving into one of the most explosive and strategically brilliant sequences in Renegade Immortal, where Wang Lin faces a late-stage Ascendant stage demon servant and makes the ultimate gamble with his life. I hope this explanation helps you understand Renegade Immortal more deeply than others. This story open, fresh from eliminating the traitor Tiger Stride, Wang Lin found himself facing an enemy that should have been absolutely insurmountable. The black-armored old man, a late-stage Ascendant stage demon servant under the Scattered Demon's command. The gap between early-stage and late-stage Ascendant stage wasn't just significant, it represented a chasm of power that normally meant certain death for the weaker cultivator. In the brutal hierarchy of the cultivation world, such differences in realm typically resulted in absolute suppression, where skill and strategy became meaningless before overwhelming strength. Yet Wang Lin stood his ground, not out of foolish bravery or desperation, but because he possessed something extraordinary, a sword aura personally bestowed by Sword Saint Ling Tianhou himself. This wasn't just any technique or treasure. This was the condensed essence of one of the most powerful sword cultivators to ever exist. A master whose understanding of the Tao rivaled even the legendary all-seer Tian Yunzi. The mere existence of this trump card gave Wang Lin the confidence to face an opponent who should have crushed him like an insect. However, demonstrating the tactical brilliance that had kept him alive through countless desperate situations, Wang Lin didn't immediately reveal his ultimate weapon. Instead, he began the battle by summoning his 10 billion soul banner, a terrifying artifact that contained exactly what its name promised: 100 million tormented souls collected over years of cultivation and combat. The banner unfurled in the air above the ancient battlefield, its dark fabric seeming to drink in the light itself as Wang Lin channeled every single soul contained within it into his Yellow Springs technique. What happened next was something that transcended ordinary supernatural powers and entered the realm of true Tao manifestation. Wang Lin took those 100 million souls and used them as the foundation for something unprecedented. He gave the Yellow Springs itself a soul. The invisible river of death that he had cultivated through his comprehension of the underworld's essence suddenly possessed consciousness, awareness, and most terrifyingly, intent. The Yellow Springs ceased to be merely a technique or a vision of power. It transformed into a living entity, a colossal yellow dragon that roared with the voice of countless souls crying out in eternal anguish. But Wang Lin didn't stop there. Into this dragon, he infused the 130,000 killing intents he had accumulated throughout his entire life. Every battle he had fought, every enemy he had slain, every moment of murderous determination condensed into pure destructive will. The dragon became a perfect fusion of the Yellow Springs' death energy, the soul's collective anguish, and Wang Lin's own Tao of slaughter. This wasn't just a technique anymore. This was the physical manifestation of Wang Lin's very path to immortality, his understanding of death and killing given form and unleashed upon the world. The black-armored old man, witnessing this extraordinary display, responded with supernatural powers befitting his late-stage Ascendant stage cultivation. He summoned wind that could shred mountains, rain that corroded spiritual energy itself, thunder that split the heavens, and lightning that burned with otherworldly fire. These four elements combined into a devastating storm of destruction that clashed directly with Wang Lin's Yellow Springs dragon. When these two forces collided, the ancient battlefield itself seemed to groan under the strain. The earth cracked and split, the sky churned with conflicting energies, and the very fabric of space rippled from the impact. Wang Lin, relying on his unique understanding and application of Taoist principles, managed to hold his ground against what the old man dismissively called his weakest supernatural power. The fact that Wang Lin could withstand even this lesser technique spoke volumes about how far he had come in his cultivation journey. Yet the black-armored elder, sensing that this battle required more than casual effort, decided to unleash his true power. The armor he wore wasn't merely protective equipment, it contained genuine demonic essence from the demon realm itself. As he channeled this power, a monstrous demonic aura erupted from his body, condensing and reshaping itself into a weapon of terrifying design. A scythe that constantly shifted and morphed, its form never staying consistent for more than a moment. This scythe was already an extraordinary weapon, but what elevated it to truly deadly status was the incorporation of something even more sinister. Between the old man's eyebrows resided a single-horned demonic soul, a fragment of consciousness from a true demon of the other realm. This demonic soul merged completely with the scythe, transforming it from a mere weapon into a demonic blade imbued with authentic demonic rules. Laws of reality from another dimension that didn't belong in this world. The moment the demonic blade fully manifested, the space around it literally shattered like broken glass. Cracks appeared in the very fabric of reality, unable to withstand the presence of something that operated under fundamentally different universal laws. Its power completely overshadowed the wind, rain, thunder, and lightning from before, revealing that the old man had indeed been holding back significantly. Wang Lin, seeing this apocalyptic weapon bearing down on him, knew that the time for restraint had passed. He finally revealed the trump card he had been saving, the sword aura of Sword Saint Ling Tianhou. To understand the significance of this, one must understand who Ling Tianhou was. This wasn't just a powerful cultivator or a talented swordsman. Ling Tianhou stood as one of the absolute pinnacles of cultivation achievement, a master whose comprehension of the sword path had reached heights that most cultivators couldn't even imagine in their wildest dreams. Ling Tianhou had devoted his entire existence to studying the way of the sword, and his understanding had crystallized into a single concept: tyranny. Not tyranny in the political sense, but absolute, overwhelming dominance. His sword was the embodiment of irresistible force, the physical manifestation of the concept that some things simply cannot be stopped or resisted. When Wang Lin released this sword aura from his fingertip, where it had been hidden all this time, the entire battlefield changed. The aura itself surpassed everything else present. It carried an absolute authority that seemed to freeze time itself. The Yellow Springs dragon and the storm of wind, rain, thunder, and lightning that were still entangled in combat suddenly paled in comparison, their energies instinctively withdrawing as if recognizing something far superior to themselves. The battlefield transformed into a stage for something far more significant than a simple combat between cultivators. On one side, the demonic blade carrying the demonic path of another world, representing an entirely different system of universal laws and cultivation. On the other side, Ling Tianhou's sword aura, representing the absolute pinnacle of this world's understanding of tyrannical power. Behind the golden sword aura, observers could almost see the proud figure of Ling Tianhou himself, his will and understanding infused into this single attack. When these two forces collided, it transcended a mere exchange of energy or spiritual power. This was a clash between different Taoist principles, different understandings of how reality itself should function. The impact was catastrophic. The earth split open into ravines so deep that darkness swallowed their bottoms. The clouds in the sky scattered to the horizons, and all other manifestations of power on the battlefield dimmed to insignificance. The outcome was devastating for both sides. The demonic blade shattered completely, its demonic shadow dispersing unwillingly into fragments that screamed silently as they dissipated. But Ling Tianhou's sword aura, despite its overwhelming power, had exhausted most of its energy in the clash. Only a wisp of golden light remained, still imbued with that characteristic tyranny, refusing to disperse even after accomplishing its primary purpose. This final wisp of sword aura, demonstrating the unyielding nature that had defined Ling Tianhou's path, shot straight toward the mysterious black tower that loomed at the rear of the battlefield. Even when a cold snort, a diaru, manifestation of divine will from whatever entity resided within the tower, attempted to deflect or neutralize it, the sword aura persisted. It carved a visible mark across the tower's surface, a scar that would remain as testament to Ling Tianhou's overwhelming power. Those observing from within the tower couldn't help but express their amazement, noting that the sword aura's power seemed even greater than Ling Tianhou's strength during his prime. This suggested something extraordinary. Either Ling Tianhou had grown even stronger after bestowing this aura, or Wang Lin's desperate circumstances had somehow amplified its effectiveness. Wang Lin had successfully countered the demonic blade, and as an unexpected bonus, damaged the mysterious Black Tower. But the moment this victory was achieved, Wang Lin's battle instincts, honed through countless life-and-death struggles, took over. The effects of the celestial ascension fruit he had consumed earlier, which had been filling him with berserker rage and unnatural battle lust, suddenly cleared enough for him to think rationally again. In that moment of clarity, he realized the horrifying truth. If he allowed that frenzy to control him, if he gave in to the impulse to charge the tower and finish what the sword aura had started, he would absolutely die. The sword aura had created chaos and gaps in the enemy's defenses. But those gaps wouldn't last forever, and rushing in would be suicide. So Wang Lin made the decision that had saved his life countless times before. He ran, not in cowardly panic, but in tactical retreat, using every movement technique and speed-enhancing method at his disposal to create distance between himself and the battlefield. However, his attack on the Black Tower, however unintentional, had consequences he couldn't have predicted. The damage to the tower thoroughly enraged whatever entity resided within, and it responded by pouring massive amounts of demonic energy directly into the black-armored old man's body. The old man's form began to mutate grotesquely, his body swelling and transforming until he stood 3 zhang tall, approximately 30 feet of pure, demonic power. Black horns erupted from his forehead, and his strength, already formidable at late-stage Ascendant stage, increased even further. The pursuing giant's roar shook the entire battlefield as it chased after Wang Lin with speed that had clearly increased along with its physical transformation. Wang Lin's retreat, which should have created safe distance, became a desperate flight for survival. Every technique he used to accelerate or teleport short distances was matched by the giant's raw speed and power. Wang Lin's mind raced as he fled, and he came to a sobering realization about his current predicament. The celestial ascension fruit, which had given him the temporary boost in combat power and spirit necessary to face the old man initially, was now revealing itself as a double-edged sword. Its side effects, the berserker rage, the clouded judgment, the inability to properly assess danger, had contributed significantly to his current desperate situation. It was at this critical juncture, with death literally breathing down his neck, that Wang Lin's genius for survival truly shone. He formulated a plan so bold, so complex, and so dangerous that it bordered on insanity, but it was also his only realistic chance of survival. First, he split a portion of his divine sense, no small feat while running at full speed from a terrifying pursuer, and sent it delving into his storage bag. Within that dimensional space, he had imprisoned Yao Xishui, a female cultivator he had captured earlier. His divine sense manifested before her, and with cold, merciless efficiency, he threatened her with eternal imprisonment and ultimate death unless she immediately revealed the method of using the Blood Soul pill. Simultaneously, while this conversation was happening in the accelerated time-space of divine communication, Wang Lin's physical body performed a series of desperate actions. He threw out his troll battle axe, a powerful treasure he had acquired during his adventures, and detonated it in a self-destruction that briefly slowed the giant's pursuit, buying him precious seconds to complete the information extraction from Yao Xishui. The moment he obtained the method, Wang Lin's hands moved in a blur. He crushed the wax pill containing the Blood Soul pill's essence, extracting a single drop of brilliant blue blood. Using his own blood as ink, he rapidly drew a complex talisman in the air, infusing it with spiritual power and intent before pressing it against his forehead. The talisman merged with a drop of blue blood, and Wang Lin immediately launched this merged construct thousands of miles away from his current location. Having completed this intricate series of preparations, Wang Lin did something that shocked even his pursuing enemy. Instead of continuing his flight, instead of using every ounce of power to escape, he stopped running. His eyes, which had started to clear from the celestial ascension fruit's influence, suddenly turned blood red again as he deliberately released all the remaining battle frenzy locked within his primordial spirit. The berserker rage that he had been fighting to suppress flooded through him completely. And then, to the giant's utter disbelief, Wang Lin turned around and charged straight toward his pursuer. But Wang Lin wasn't just attacking in a rage-fueled rush. As he accelerated toward the giant, he triggered something that made even late-stage Ascendant stage cultivators hesitate. He began burning his own primordial spirit, and initiated the process of self-destruction. The energy signatures around his body shifted from combat techniques to something far more ominous as his very essence started to unravel in a controlled cascade. The self-destruction of any Ascendant stage cultivator was a terrifying thing, capable of leaving craters miles wide and killing everyone nearby. But Wang Lin's self-destruction carried additional factors that amplified its destructive potential to unprecedented levels. Within his body, he still carried 4 drops of unabsorbed celestial immortal liquid, essence from beings who had transcended mortal cultivation entirely. This divine substance, when combined with a cultivator's self-destruction, multiplied the explosive power to unimaginable heights. The black-armored giant, recognizing the horrifying reality of what was about to happen, began retreating rapidly while shouting that Wang Lin had gone completely insane. His armor formed layers of protective barriers, creating shields of demonic energy meant to withstand the coming explosion. But Wang Lin, driven by a perfect combination of calculated planning and berserker determination, his primordial spirit burning like a star about to go supernova, crashed into the giant like a meteor, striking a planet. The resulting explosion defied description. The destructive force engulfed everything within miles, a sphere of annihilation that consumed earth, air, and energy alike. The giant, despite his armor's protective shields, could only hold out for a few desperate breaths before the barriers shattered like glass. His physical body, enhanced though it was by demonic transformation, began to crumble and disintegrate under the onslaught of Wang Lin's celestial immortal liquid-enhanced self-destruction. But Wang Lin's self-destruction wasn't a simple act of mutual destruction or desperate suicide. In the final instant before his complete dissolution, he performed one last action that demonstrated his absolute refusal to die without leaving his mark. He condensed everything that remained, all his Taoist understanding, his life essence, the remnants of his primordial spirit's power, and even the ancient god bloodline will that resided in his true form, into a single attack. This final strike manifested as a punch, launched from the epicenter of the explosion toward the already damaged Black Tower. It carried within it everything Wang Lin was, everything he had become, all his rage and determination and will to survive compressed into one dazzling moment of existence. The punch soared through the destruction like a shooting star through darkness, and when it struck the tower, it accomplished what the sword aura had only begun. The Black Tower, already riddled with cracks from Ling Tianhou's sword aura, simply couldn't withstand this additional devastating impact. The structure groaned, shuddered, and then collapsed entirely, its fragments scattering across the battlefield as the tower that had stood for unknown ages finally fell. The destruction of the tower had immediate and severe consequences for the scattered demon consciousness that had been residing within the armor. The armor itself floated in the air, no longer attached to the giant's disintegrating body, and emanated a divine vow of vengeance, a curse powered by demonic will that promised Wang Lin would be hunted to the ends of existence for this transgression. The armor then flew purposefully toward the ruins of the tower's base, where something had been waiting all along. There, sitting cross-legged among the rubble, was a burly man with flowing long hair and distinctive purple-gold patterns covering his skin, patterns that spoke of bloodline heritage and ancient power. The armor swiftly donned this new body, settling into place as if it had always belonged there, and the man's eyes slowly opened, revealing consciousness that had been dormant until this moment. This was no mere demon servant or possessed puppet. This was something far more complete, far more dangerous, a fusion of demonic armor, demonic consciousness, and a powerful physical vessel that promised capabilities far exceeding what the giant had possessed. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away, the blood soul pill's mechanism activated exactly as Wang Lin had planned. The drop of blue blood that he had sent flying before his self-destruction appeared in the distant void and immediately began absorbing spiritual energy from heaven and earth at a ravenous pace. The blood swelled and reshaped, gradually forming a human figure that became more detailed with each passing moment. Wang Lin's consciousness, which had been scattered to the winds by his self-destruction, gathered within this reforming body. The blood soul pill's miraculous properties had preserved his primordial spirit essence, giving him the chance for genuine resurrection, rather than mere reincarnation. His entire body reformed cell by cell, recreated from the spiritual energy of the world itself, using the blueprint contained within that single drop of blood. Donning a set of blue robes that materialized as his body solidified, Wang Lin immediately began long-distance teleportation, heading directly toward Sky. Demon City. He had survived, but he knew this reprieve was temporary at best. The Blood Soul Pill's unique mechanism preserved all items connected to a person's primordial spirit at the moment of death, meaning Wang Lin could retrieve his treasures and artifacts using the power of blood, soul connection. However, as he traveled, he reflected on why he had chosen this desperate gamble rather than using the life-saving treasure that the all-seer Tian Yunzi had personally bestowed upon him. That treasure, powerful though it was, could only withstand attacks from late-stage spirit-severing cultivators at maximum. The black-armored elder, while theoretically equivalent to a late-stage spirit-severing cultivator, possessed combat power that far exceeded typical cultivators of that level due to his demonic enhancements. More importantly, the mysterious presence within the Black Tower represented an unknown variable, something potentially far more powerful than spirit-severing realm, something that might have rendered even Tian Yunzi's protection worthless. Wang Lin's decision to gamble everything on the Blood Soul Pill stemmed from his assessment of the Tower entity's capabilities and limitations. During their earlier confrontation, the divine attack from within the Tower should have killed him multiple times over. Only the Celestial Ascension Fruit's constant stimulation of his primordial spirit, forcing it to regenerate and resist at superhuman speeds, had kept him alive through that onslaught. But the Celestial Ascension Fruit's side effects presented their own problem. Extended use led to permanent madness and complete mental derangement. Wang Lin couldn't possibly rely on such a dangerous substance for the 400 years he still needed to spend in the Demon Spirit Land. He needed to eliminate the threat permanently, not just survive it temporarily. His analysis suggested that while the entity in the Black Tower possessed devastating offensive capabilities, its true form was likely confined within the tower structure itself. This limitation gave Wang Lin his opportunity. By destroying the tower through his self-destruction's final punch, he had severely injured or possibly even eliminated a threat that could have haunted him for centuries. As Wang Lin completed his final teleportation, preparing to arrive at Sky Demon City, a furious roar suddenly erupted from behind him, a sound that carried across thousands of miles through sheer force of will and power. The burly man wearing the demonic armor, his eyes flashing with ghostly light and his entire body surging with demonic energy, burst through the fabric of space itself and began pursuing Wang Lin with terrifying, single-minded determination. Wang Lin immediately continued his teleportation sequence, but in the brief instant before he vanished, he glanced back and experienced a shock that penetrated even his combat-hardened composure. The burly man's facial features looked remarkably similar to Sword Saint Ling Tianhou. However, Wang Lin's sharp observational skills and experience quickly allowed him to notice crucial differences. This man appeared much younger than Ling Tianhou had been during their encounter, and more importantly, his aura was completely different. Where Ling Tianhou had radiated absolute tyrannical sword intent, this man emanated chaotic, demonic energy mixed with something older, something that reminded Wang Lin of ancient bloodlines and forgotten powers. A guess formed in Wang Lin's mind, a possibility so intriguing that he decided to take a calculated risk. After completing his next teleportation, he suddenly turned and called out to the pursuing giant, "What is your relationship with Ling Tianhou?" This question had an immediate and dramatic effect. The burly man actually paused in his relentless pursuit, and a look of confusion appeared in his eyes, replacing the mindless rage that had been driving him forward. He murmured the words Ling Tianhou and Great Luo Sword Sect, as if trying to grasp memories that danced just beyond his reach, fragments of identity buried beneath demonic possession and time. But in the instant he was lost in this confusion, the demonic soul residing between his eyebrows, the true controller, the scattered demon's consciousness, let out a sharp, piercing shriek directly at Wang Lin. The sound carried demonic power meant to disrupt spiritual consciousness, but more importantly, it forcibly dragged the burly man out of his moment of remembrance, reigniting the demonic flames in his eyes and restoring him to his role as a mindless, pursuing weapon. Wang Lin now understood the complete situation. This body wasn't just any vessel, it was someone connected to Ling Tianhou, possibly a relative, a descendant, or even a younger version somehow displaced through time. The demonic soul controlling him was indeed a scattered demon, serving under an ancient demon's command. Using this powerful bloodline body as a puppet, Wang Lin retreated rapidly while simultaneously shouting a name with all the spiritual power he could muster. The name of the ancient demon Bei Luo, also known as Greed, the entity with whom he had made an agreement years ago. His voice carried across the distance to Sky Demon City, a desperate call for intervention from the only power nearby that might match the scattered demon in strength. In an instant, a will of overwhelming power swept out from Sky Demon City, descending upon Wang Lin like a mountain made of consciousness. The ancient demon Bei Luo's voice entered his ears directly, bypassing physical sound entirely, pointing out with some amusement that Wang Lin was 10 years late for their scheduled appointment, a delay that would have consequences. Those consequences manifested immediately as Bei Luo extracted a massive amount of blood from Wang Lin's body, drawing it out through spiritual power rather than physical wounds. The blood condensed in the air, forming a humanoid shape that quickly gained detail and definition. Bei Luo's will attached itself to this blood construct, manifesting as a bizarre figure with two distinctive horns protruding from its head, the physical representation of an ancient demon's power. The scattered demon, seeing Bei Luo manifest, questioned him sternly in the language of the ancient gods, a tongue so old that it predated the current cultivation systems entirely. The scattered demon demanded to know whether Bei Luo intended to obstruct him in his rightful pursuit of vengeance against the one who had destroyed his tower and vessel. Bei Luo's response came with calm authority that acknowledged the hierarchy while asserting his own position. He pointed out that the scattered demon was merely a servant under an ancient demon's command, while Bei Luo himself held the full title and power of ancient demon. So why exactly couldn't they obstruct each other? The implication was clear: they were equals in authority, regardless of who their ultimate masters might be, and Bei Luo had every right to protect someone under his agreement. After this verbal exchange established the parameters of their confrontation, the battle commenced. The scattered demon fully seized control of the armored giant's body, channeling its complete power through this powerful vessel. Bei Luo responded by unleashing supernatural abilities that demonstrated why ancient demons were considered catastrophic threats capable of destroying entire regions. Demonic mist erupted from Bei Luo's manifested form, expanding to fill the sky like an ocean of darkness had been inverted and poured over the world. This mist swept the scattered demon and its possessed body into the air, creating a battlefield separate from the mortal realm. Simultaneously, Bei Luo descended a protective demonic curtain over Sky Demon City, ensuring that the collateral damage from their battle wouldn't annihilate everything he had built. The thick fog in the sky became a roiling battlefield where two ancient powers clashed with techniques and abilities that transcended normal cultivation understanding. Wang Lin, seeing his opportunity, sat down cross-legged and began the process of recovery. He consumed healing pills, regulated his breathing to restore his depleted spiritual energy, and stabilized the injuries his resurrection had left incomplete. But even while focusing on recovery, Wang Lin kept his attention on the battle raging above. This wasn't mere curiosity. The supernatural powers and demonic arts being displayed by Bei Luo and the scattered demon were extraordinary learning opportunities. These were techniques from the ancient era, methods that predated the current cultivation systems, applications of power that modern cultivators had forgotten or never knew existed. As Wang Lin observed, something incredible happened. The battle scenes triggered memories from his ancient god, bloodline, activating inherited knowledge that had been dormant within his consciousness. The ancient god arts and hand seals from Shentu's lineage, knowledge passed down through blood rather than teaching, began surfacing naturally in his mind like bubbles rising from deep water. His hands moved unconsciously, forming one ancient god hand seal after another, his body acting on instinct and inherited memory. Each gesture resonated with the power being displayed in the sky, creating sympathetic connections that helped him understand the underlying principles. But the benefits extended beyond his physical body in the demon spirit land. His true self, the original body that existed far away on a distant planet, suddenly sensed these comprehensions through their spiritual connection. His true form began cultivating and absorbing these techniques, practicing the arts that his physical copy was witnessing, creating a feedback loop of learning and advancement. Through observing this three-day battle, Wang Lin's understanding of ancient god arts deepened exponentially, and his true self advanced significantly in cultivation power, gaining insights that would have taken decades or centuries to achieve through normal practice. The battle itself lasted 3 full days and nights, the sky above Sky Demon City churning with apocalyptic energies that never quite breached Bei Luo's protective barrier. By the time it ended, Wang Lin had fully recovered from his resurrection injuries, his spiritual energy restored, and his mind clear. The battle's conclusion became apparent as the scattered demon's vessel sustained injury after injury under Bei Luo's relentless assault. The burly man's body showed signs of damage that even demonic energy couldn't immediately repair, evidence that Bei Luo's ancient techniques were genuinely capable of harming even such a powerful possessed form. Just as Bei Luo's demonic light was about to completely engulf the burly man and finish the battle decisively, the scattered demon made its move. The demonic soul shrieked and suddenly emerged from between the giant's eyebrows, abandoning its physical vessel in a desperate bid for survival. Clad only in the demonic armor, which apparently could exist independent of a body, it attempted to escape. Wang Lin had been waiting for exactly this moment. His recovery had been genuine, but he had also been preparing, gathering power, and positioning himself for one perfect strike. He had already fused together multiple treasures: the Yellow Springs, the 10 billion soul banner, the immortal sword, and the curved blade Kunji whip, condensing them into a single concentrated attack imbued with his Taoist understanding and intent. As the armored demonic soul attempted to flee, Wang Lin erupted from his seated position, transforming into a shooting star that soared into the sky. At the precise moment when the giant's body was being engulfed by demonic light and the scattered demon was escaping, Wang Lin unleashed his prepared attack with every ounce of power he possessed. The yellow light, containing the essence of death, souls, and slaughter, intercepted the fleeing armor perfectly. The impact didn't destroy the scattered demon, but it created a crucial moment of hesitation, a brief pause in its escape trajectory. And in that single instant of stop momentum, Bei Luo's demonic light completed its envelopment and began the process of refining the scattered demon's essence. Seeing its genuinely critical situation, the scattered demon resorted to threats, declaring that its master, a higher-ranking ancient demon, would never forgive Bei Luo if it was killed here. But Bei Luo remained unmoved, continuing to channel demonic light to refine and absorb his opponent's power. Finally, recognizing that death was imminent, the scattered demon chose survival over pride. It sacrificed massive amounts of its demonic energy and withdrew all its consciousness completely into the armor itself, abandoning external power for the sake of preserving its core essence. Despite losing a significant portion of its total strength, this desperate sacrifice allowed it to break free from the refining light's grasp. But just when the scattered demon thought it had successfully escaped, Wang Lin's right hand shot out with lightning speed and physically grabbed the armor. Wang Lin understood that allowing this enemy to escape would mean endless future revenge, constant pursuit, and inevitable death. He had calculated every step of this encounter, even predicting that Bei Luo would provide just enough help to create this final opportunity. The moment his hand contacted the armor, Wang Lin deliberately activated the remaining effects of the celestial ascension fruit, still lingering in his primordial spirit. He put himself voluntarily into the berserker state, flooding his consciousness with battle frenzy and rage-fueled determination. Because he knew the demonic soul would immediately invade his body, his prediction proved correct. The demonic soul flowed like liquid darkness along his arm, rushing directly toward his primordial spirit, while the armor simultaneously covered Wang Lin's entire body. In seconds, Wang Lin stood transformed, clad in black demonic armor, his eyes blood red from the celestial ascension fruit's stimulation. Within his sea of consciousness, a desperate battle commenced. Wang Lin's primordial spirit, enhanced by the fruit's effects, engaged in direct combat with the invading demonic soul. This was a battle of pure will and spiritual power, where physical cultivation meant nothing and only the strength of one's consciousness determined victory or defeat. What happens next in this incredible spiritual battle? Can Wang Lin successfully resist the scattered demon's invasion with only the celestial ascension fruit's dangerous effects protecting him? Will the berserker state that has saved him so many times finally consume him completely? And what secrets does the burly man's connection to Ling Tianhou hold? Your support helps me bring you more amazing content about Wang Lin's extraordinary journey through the demon spirit land. Don't forget to subscribe and help us reach 10,000 subscribers milestone. Like this video, drop a comment with your thoughts on Wang Lin's insane gamble with the Blood Soul pill, and hit that bell notification so you never miss the next episode. Until next time, stay tuned for more incredible adventures in the world of Renegade Immortal.